stupid Eagles pulled my ass.
You're burnt.
It's better, believe it or not, it's better. It's better.
Did you lay in the tanning bed?
He got drunk and passed out.
We have hats over at the There was a guy next to us that was. There was.
No, you
I
write
thought there
that
was gonna be
too.
weird.
It's
I was-
like-
I was- You know how,
They just get loud.
you're on those benches up there.
Yeah, that's not a lot of room either.
No, and some guys, you got my seat, you got my seat.
Don't be pushing, you can go over.
Well, don't you get up in a press box or? I would
No,
think-
we got guys that cover the ball game, so I'm not.
Oh, I figured you could use your press credentials and
Nope.
they'd stick you up there in the air conditioning
Tom.
part.
Nope.
Well,
It's fine. Good seat, good time.
They're having a discussion out there we're gonna need to have in here, we're gonna listen to it again.
That's what I was thinking, I'm listening to that thing, isn't that supposed to be here?
You're wasting time.
Come on, Mark.
I got all day.
Yeah, I gotta leave by 11:30, so hurry.
Too bad.
Like, take the dog.
Yes, we've had the same guys now for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know where to go all of a sudden not. I
We
didn't-
got, we should get a pay raise.
Yeah, I was gonna look this morning, I didn't. Did you know, what is it a raise?
Small.
Hi, Sam.
good morning. Much brighter tide.
Thank you. I think.
I like your tie.
It's autumn looking.
My God, we got.
Oh, Lordy.
Now we got
City
the
coming
city
through.
here.
Larry. Hey, Larry,
Pretty good.
did we get a letter out to him about that mailbox on Ball Hill? That mailbox out there on Ball Hill? Well, apparently he's starting to build a wall out there, so we're.
Pretty good, how are you?
Well, thanks.
This place for Ian.
I did, somebody asked me Sunday night, okay,
I'd like to get.
hey, there's a mailbox.
That's fine, yeah.
I know, it's either low.
I tried to put them
Oh, looks like he's starting to
Yeah, the more people we can get out of here and get back to work, the better.
I think we need to
It
get
seemed to
hold of
me
him
from
and
looking
get
at it, the two things that get most people.
That one's kind of an outdoor.
In the city center.
Yeah.
If we do those two first, we get 90% of the room.
I don't bother.
Is David here to talk about Monroe Street? Yeah, I'm still not,
I don't know if I saved that email.
still not convinced on that either.
Not either, man.
Yeah, I did, thank you.
I'll shoot you just a quick email that says something all deal in mailbox, I already got it.
You ready, Dave? Are we alive? All right, I'm gonna call the commission to order. Do we have any minutes or reports?
I have the sheriff's fees, for August was filed.
All right. Commissioner liaison reports or announcements, upcoming meetings and/or events. I missed you on the radio. How'd that go last week?
It's good. They played my theme song.
What's
Did
your
you ever
theme
get to hear
song?
that? I don't know the name of the song, but they always play it. And it's something about good old Shep or something, and it's we have a good laugh about it. So anyway,
I hadn't heard that one. Gosh darn it! I'm gonna have to listen in and catch
Yeah.
that next time. So, okay. Then we're gonna jump into the agenda. We're gonna move it around just a little bit because we have guests with us, and we're gonna try to hit the guests first and get them out of here. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is the pre-trial program. Richard, Judge, I don't know who's taking the lead on this.
Well, you ask us.
We asked you guys for an update on it, to where we're at. So that's why I thought maybe one of you guys knew who was going to do the update.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Richard.
We lost it.
Thank you.
Paper, rock, scissors. Basically, we've had the program going 1 year. We've done 365 reports during that year. Of those 365 reports, 53 of the defendants were released prior to the PTS report being submitted to the court. So that brought us down to 112 reports that actually went to the court. Out of the 112 reports, 312 reports, 125 offenders, or about 45%, were either bond was reduced or was in the PTS program. The PTS program, we had 71 offenders that are still in the program or have been through the program and completed it, and which was about 57% of the releases that we have. The reduction of bonds, there was 53 offenders the bonds were reduced, which was about 43% of the releases. The one thing that may be noted from the 6-month report to the report now, the year-end report, we had an increase in the PTS referrals as opposed to the bond reductions. And then the bed days saved on a year was 15,778 bed days for offenders.
So we're saving money.
Yes, sir.
How about appearances in courtrooms?
Appearances in the courtroom, we had only 2 out of the 71 that we supervised. Only 2 failed to appear. They absconded during that time period.
Okay.
There's none out right now at all. Yes, that's correct.
I'm sorry, what?
They were caught, there's none out.
There's none out? Okay. What about electronic shackling? Is that something we should be looking at?
Electronic shackling is a cost-effective way of managing. Using that program or using an electronic monitoring program, I think, would significantly increase not only the availability to some of the offenders we have in jail, but also the security for the community, in that we're supervising them at a more close level in the community. It also helps them to re-engage, which is another process I think you need to look at, is these offenders that trying to get them back and productive in the community to where they're not a burden to our taxpayers.
What kind of cost are we looking at on doing that?
Well, right now, the cost we're paying is about $10 a day is what we're paying for an offender to be on the electronic shackling program. We have used it modestly, I think, during this year for what we do. We've also looked at other possibilities of actually piggybacking the state contract. If we did that, we could reduce the cost for the electronic monitoring program to probably $3 to $4 a day. So essentially, you could put 3 to 4 people on the program at the cost you're doing one right now,
Mark,
depending on the type of equipment.
Mark, what do you think about the electronic shackling idea? It's something that you think would give you all some benefit?
I don't have any comments on that right now.
Okay.
There's another layer of offender that we think that could be appropriately released in the community on a pretrial basis with a higher level of supervision. And like Richard said, we're about the max Richard can supervise in terms of the number of people out at any one time. And we've used it on kind of a limited basis, taking into account other considerations, maybe medical or some things like that. And then, but we think there's another layer that we could put out with electronic shackling if we could write the state contract. Worst case, that's probably $5 a day. So, like I said, we've been trying to be kind of judicious, no pun intended, in terms of how we use this, to kind of get a handle on what it takes to supervise those people versus what we can do with those things. And we think that's something we'd like to expand the use of.
Greg, what's do you know ballpark what the variable cost per day per inmate is?
Right now,
Because, I mean, it's a portion of it's just fixed.
well,
You know.
1935, depends on what the governor releases.
Right.
And I don't know how much he released the other day. Could go as high as 2250.
But I mean, what's our actual cost per day per inmate? It's,
Well,
I
according
mean, the
to-
first inmate costs $1 million a year, and the second inmate costs a whole lot less because you have turned.
What the feds agreed was a correct pricing was $78 a day.
Okay. How much of that is our fixed cost that we have, no matter if we have 1 inmate or 100 inmates?
I can't tell you.
Okay. How much is our meal cost per person?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
Jen, do you know ballpark what that is?
I was trying to think when you were talking, I don't remember either. I can find out, I can go check it.
$3, $4, $5 a day.
I thought it was under $1 per meal, wasn't it?
$1 a day.
When we got the last bid, we were like 92 cents a meal.
A meal, maybe.
So almost $3 a day.
That's just for the meal itself, not.
Or was it
serving
$1?
it or whatever.
I'm thinking it's $1 or something, a meal.
I can't tell you without looking at the
Okay.
contract.
Because, I mean, that's really, the real savings is that.
Well, it's that, it's medical, and some other things.
Right. But that's those are the ones that we need to quantify so we can figure out really what we're saving. I mean, the $73 a day reflects our total cost. But the difference between 124 inmates and 125 inmates is really that variable cost that we have to figure out what it is.
Well, there's all kinds of other aspects to it. It's not just, you don't have to feed that meal, you don't have to wash those sheets, you don't have to heat the water for that particular shower. But if you look at it in terms of how many people you have to handle through the jail for court, that's an additional savings. That person brings himself to court as opposed to having to be brought over for court if he's going for a mandatory court appearance, or if he's at least going to be brought to video, which there's labor involved in that. And so, anything we do to reduce the total jail population seems to make things work better.
Okay, so you all are recommending we keep doing the program and we look at expanding into the shackling?
Yes.
Okay. Guess we need to have budget numbers on that then. Get us an estimate of how many, to put that in the budget for next year, we gotta figure out, 1, what the savings is, and 2, what the cost is. And I don't know what the monitoring cost is on top of the shackling cost, or if that's included.
I think $5 a day is a high estimate. It depends on if you go to the state contract, that it's somewhere in the 3.5 to 4.5. So we just figure $5 a day. They do all the monitoring, and if there's a
Oh, they
violation-
do all the
Yeah,
monitoring.
they do all the
Okay.
monitoring. They just report the violations out.
Okay. But it might get us an estimate about how many you all think it would be, how many people you think would be utilizing it, so we can get an idea what that actual outflow would be.
Just for thought for you, we have a couple of young men that we've got back into school that are on the electronic monitoring program, so it's a real benefit a lot of times for some of these younger people that you're trying to re-engage or get an education for and work with to have this monitoring program for them. And it's been beneficial, at least so far, for a couple of young men we've got back in school.
Good, good.
There's a psychological, constitutional side in the sense that these people are innocent because they have not been adjudicated as guilty yet. They've been arrested, we're alleging that they committed a crime, but until that conviction occurs, these people are treated as innocent people like anyone else in this room.
Right, finally, it looks like from the, the statutes together, you should be able to tax this as costs. We've got to figure out a way to capture that information, because we don't do it the same way we do on jail days. But if you think about it, and we do recover jail time costs from defendants post disposition, but you're going to recover it a whole lot faster at $5 a day as opposed to $78 a day. So I think that's something we're looking at, is how we capture that information, turn it into taxable jail costs.
That was gonna be one of my questions, was can we bill them for their right to be back out and they can keep their job or what have you? And then the other one is, why aren't we going ahead and, why aren't we on the state contract piggybacking with it already?
Well, I think we were just trying to figure out what it took to supervise, and we really didn't know when we started.
Okay, see if we could do it for less.
Well, I think we could do it for less on the state contract. We were just trying to get a handle on what we thought we could effectively do with one person, the number of people that were out there. And that was the easiest way to do that. That was consistent with what they were using in drug court and some other things like that.
Okay. Will you guys get us some numbers?
What's the average jail population currently?
Right now, we're running about 130, but we're housing some for Boone County, so that makes a difference there. And this is from Vickers now, on average, based on
I thought we were down
population,
around 100.
The food costs are about $4.24 per day per inmate.
Okay. What, how many inmates are ours in the jail? Of that 130?
Roughly.
Roughly.
Roughly. Probably, right now, this is off the top of my head.
Right.
Probably 90 to 95.
Okay.
Does that include any feds?
No, that's taking the feds out.
Okay.
So you're sitting here, and I think if you use the 95, you're really safe on that. And understanding with that population, the majority of those are awaiting trial.
Is that 130 number, is there a lot of people just coming in and out? I mean, I'm just trying to get an idea of how many people are actually spending the night over and over, and how many do you got going in and out on a daily basis?
I'd actually have to pull that for you. We can get that done and send it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, of the 90 to 95 is what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Because the others are the feds, or right now Boone County has some. But shy of that group, the ones that are still sitting there, you've got those that are serving time, those that are awaiting trial or awaiting sentencing, two different things. And then you've got the in and outs.
Mhm.
And I would contend that the in and outs are a small group of it.
Okay.
So I would suggest, unless you guys have other questions, if you guys could put some numbers together, Greg, John, Richard, Donnie, I don't know who's, kind of a package together, and then maybe in a couple of weeks bring it back up.
Well, we'll have Victor work on it, I think, right now, if you texted each other. And, so we should have it back to you today.
Well, but we need to take it up in an agenda meeting, so maybe next week or the week after that. Check your all's calendars and see what works best for y'all. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thanks for the good work, Richard. Really appreciate it. Chris, is Mark still out there? Okay. Come on in. Let's talk about the space allocation and planning.
Thank you, boss.
Copies for them, too. Perfect. That's all we need. Maybe. Go get them.
Okay, so some of this is what we had
Yeah, these are
prior
the.
to, before that.
Come on up to the table, Chris. That way we can just kind of all chat for a few minutes. I appreciate you making time out of your calendar and.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
I'll be between schools.
Hopefully this will be more exciting.
Or maybe.
Well, it wouldn't have to be much.
Oh, is he on the phone? What? Oh.
We can go ahead and start
Yeah.
with Chris.
So Chris, kind of what we were looking at, and this is all part and parcel of the discussion, two-part discussion. One is doing an addition on the side of the courthouse, and two is trying to figure out a way to get out of the Carnegie building. And one of the ideas we've been talking about is it'd be nice to see if we could get your office over here, since it seems like there's a lot of interaction between you guys and your customers and the collector.
Definitely.
It would be easier if it was in the same building, and that's why we wanted to have Mark here also, is kind of the idea we had at least talked about was seeing if on a space basis it would work for you guys to move over up onto the 3rd floor here. I looked at the space numbers you're using, and it looks like, and jump in at any time, but it looks like your current space is a lot less than the upstairs is.
Yeah, I would say so. But we've got a couple of people pretty well cramped in between file cabinets and partial walls and things like that.
So if we were to, I think right now, according to this drawing that we've got here, and you're using about 3,085 square feet
Okay.
currently. I mean, I think that's how they measured it out. And that doesn't include like corridors and things. I mean, that's just the actual office space.
Mhm.
So you think, I mean, how many extra square feet, just ballpark, would you, a couple hundred more, 100?
I honestly, on actual square feet, I'm not sure that I could give you a number because it's, kind of going to depend on how much room we have. What I'm looking at is, right now I have 5 residential appraisers with 1 position being opened, and I have 1 commercial appraiser and need to hire 1 general certified if I can. So that's going to give me 7 people who are going to need at least semi-private spaces where they can conduct informal hearings with taxpayers.
Okay.
We've got, of course, the map coordinator, who's going to have a fair-sized office, not huge, and then myself, wherever I fit, and then I've got 4 assessment personnel, and they generally need to be in an area where they're together and can service the counter. One thing I do know about the area upstairs,
Pardon me.
I'm not sure how workable the windows up there that the prosecutor's office operates through. I don't know how easy it would be for us to do that.
Well, we could. We would assume we could do some remodeling.
Yeah, I was just going to try to cover all of the little things that might need to be changed. As far as space, I don't see a problem with it at all. I mean, and additionally, that would give us the area that I think the prosecutor uses as a conference room. That would give us an area that we could actually hold formal hearings with the tax commission and things like that, which is something that would be nice, so we don't have to keep coming over here and taking up space here.
So we have, I'm looking at, and Mark, thank you again. Thanks for coming up, Mark. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Just to kind of bring you up to speed real quick, what we were talking about, this is kind of that discussion about doing an addition onto the side of the courthouse, and also an attempt to try to get out of the Carnegie building. One of the things we were looking at potentially was moving the assessor over here, simply because the assessor's clients and the collector's clients overlap, and instead of having them run from building to building, it might be easier to have them in the same building. And at the same time, potentially moving your offices into that new space that would be attached onto the side of the courthouse. And the reason we had the discussion internally and wanted to make sure you guys were around is when we looked at the space, it looked like the space would work. Square footage to square footage, so to speak. That doesn't mean it would work, but it looks like it would. That's why we wanted to have you guys come and be able to have a discussion about it, because we don't want to move. We don't want to engage in a futile building effort to find out that it doesn't work afterwards.
Musical chairs.
Exactly. Particularly if we're going to have to do moving, we just as soon move off. If we're going to move offices, do it all at one time as opposed to move 2, 3, 4 times throughout the buildings.
As far as space for the assessor's office, I think that's very, at the most, or at the very least, sufficient, and maybe a little bit more than what we would actually normally need. We do have 4 21-foot filing cabinets and 4 9-foot filing cabinets, but I think that there's sufficient space to put those in there somewhere. I don't see a problem
I
with
assume the
that.
weight loads won't be a problem.
And I don't know. I know we used to store in the back portion of the Carnegie building. They used to keep files up there, and I know they had to move. Obviously, that's a lot older building than what we're talking about here. So I would assume that structurally we're better off here than over there.
I would think so. Okay. Mark, what are your thoughts? Would moving over into the courthouse, or I mean, it would effectively be the courthouse, would that be of benefit to you guys? And I think the space size would work. We probably would have to keep child support separate, simply because that might be too much space to move over your full office and child support.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long these are available. I just got these today to look at, so I don't have a real opinion on it at this time.
Well, and that's why we wanted to have at least an initial talk about it, so we could get it to you and then let you think about it some, and you kind of get a little bit of an idea of what our thoughts were, to try to make this work for everybody.
I'll look at this and see.
Well, one of the questions I think we had was not so much the space side, for lack of a better term, but just the operational side. Would it work for you all to be over there in the courthouse?
I don't know. I have to look at these, I would guess, plans that you all have.
And we can get you plans of the new courthouse drawings. I mean, they're not obviously with the new addition to look at also, because what you have are the existing plates.
I think that's what she gave me, but I just
Oh,
haven't seen them before today.
Did you give him both existing and the new design numbers?
But operationally, it would make probably perfect sense to be right there in the courthouse.
Yeah.
You don't have to go in and out crisscross. I don't even know if you caught that part of the question.
I don't have.
That's kind of where you was going with it, weren't you?
Right.
More of the operational than.
Mark,
It's the first time I've seen them, so I don't have a comment right now.
No.
We're not talking
No,
about
Thanks for
space,
having me
though.
down for the discussion. I mean, I appreciate that. and
No,
appreciate your thoughts on it.
I guess my question was, and I just is do you see? Can we make just an assumption, and just for purposes of having a discussion, that the space works? Is there a problem with being inside the courthouse? That was my only question.
I just got these today, Presiding Commissioner Ellinger. I will look at them, I promise you, and get back, but I'm not able to say on the spur of the moment what's best for the county and for the county's long-term plans. I have not studied this out. Until yesterday, I had a trial I was working on for next week. I've just seen these for the first time today. I would like time, if it's okay with the commission, to spend some time looking at it.
Absolutely.
And not be compelled to give some statement that I don't have a basis to make right now.
It's gonna be fun.
Okay. Well, then,
Functionally,
based
though,
upon
it
that,
makes
when do
sense.
you think we would be able to come back together and meet? We want to make sure we work with your guys' calendars. We try to adjust things out so that you're available and Chris is available, because I think it's important to have you guys at the table as we move forward in having these discussions.
I'll try the best I can to make myself available when you set a meeting.
Well, I don't want to conflict with the trial you may have. That's why. I mean, we want to.
I can't control those.
I understand that, but I mean, do you have? Is next week too soon, Chris? I don't know what your schedule's like either.
Yeah, I actually have vacation scheduled finally.
Next week?
Yeah, I
Okay.
should be back, it looks like no later than the 1st of October.
Okay.
But then the week of the 6th, I have the assessors conference.
Mark, is there any day of the week that is better or worse for you?
No, it's fine. If you get past, what date, Chris? October 6th?
The 30th, I have a week there. I have the 30th to the 3rd, but then the 6th to the 10th of October, I will be out of town at the assessors conference.
So after the 10th, anytime after the 10th, I should be fine.
Anytime after what about the week? So you're available the week of the 30th, Chris?
Yeah,
29,
Tuesday,
30?
Tuesday to Friday, yeah.
Tuesday to Friday, not Monday.
We'll be traveling on the 29th.
How about-
but I should be back the 30th.
Does Friday the 3rd work?
I think that would work for me.
Mark, would that be available for you?
I think so.
Chris?
October 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Jeff?
Deer season. October. I don't know. I can't say at this point in time because y'all just dropped this on me. October 3rd.
Yeah, it's good by me.
It works for me.
Jeff's available all day, every day.
Friday?
Yep.
All right.
Is 8:39? Is there a better time for you all?
Okay.
You want to try to do it earlier, later? Do you care? 9.
Just when it
So
works for
open.
everybody, just tell me when to be here.
Yeah, I'm open on that.
Mark, do you prefer 8:30, 9, 8?
9's fine.
All right, 9 o'clock on the 3rd, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Yeah, because I do have 7:30.
Yeah, set an agenda on that. Just that, nothing else.
Okay.
Larry?
One thing, and I haven't said anything to Chris about this, or you all, I don't see, but one thing I would like to consider, provided all this comes together, is the possibility of putting the assessor's personal property portion across the hall where the recorder currently is and doing the report. We have interaction with his personal property people every day. I mean, a lot of changes every day where we have to send them over to Chris's office and they come back, or vice versa. It would just be so much more convenient if that were located across the hall.
Okay. That's something to think about.
I don't have any objection to thinking about it, Chris.
The only problem I see right immediately is a supervisory, situation. If occasionally I have to handle situations down at the, those type of things, and they would have to call me from the 3rd floor to come down, which I can do that. That it's not too bad, but that's my concern there.
Well, we need to talk to the recorder also, and then we have to look at, I don't know how much square footage we're talking about that the personal property side is versus the recorder side. I mean, the recorder has 2,000 square feet down there, at least according to this. If that's the case, then, I can't, from what you said, Chris, I just wrote some notes down. I can't imagine that you guys use 2,000 square feet for the personal property, so there'd be a lot of, there might be some wasted space in doing that. And
we have four desks that would be in that area, and then obviously the counter for the to interact with the public. We have 2 computers that the public has access to where they can access the GIS information, and those would have to be basically in a common area, which presents a problem with the 3rd floor with being all walled in there, but it's possible that it would work downstairs.
Okay. We'll get another thing we can look at. Thank you all very much for coming. We wanted to get to you so you get out. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda will be approval of city-county agreement and the discussion of the city award on engineering. Where did all our city folks go? Larry? Larry?
So,
Not you, Larry. Other Larry.
Being a different county, maybe? I don't know how hard that answer was to come back. Well, yes, it would make sense. Is it feasible? We'll have to look at that. It's different. Am I the only one that's frustrated with that?
Yes. No.
No.
I'm quite frustrated with that also. But it is what it is.
I just gotta count to 10 or 50.
Yeah, you just can't.
Yeah.
Can't stew too long over it.
I didn't think it was a trick question, though.
It's not designed to be a trick question.
We weren't trying to pay him in the corner, just saying, does it make sense, or are we spinning our wheels?
Right.
Yeah, did you have, I didn't bring you.
All right, look, Eric.
He's grabbing some papers. Seriously? Not on the back clean, anyway.
I think if he didn't laugh, he'd blow steam out the top of his head.
Right now, I think that's probably the case.
What do you have on the agenda first?
However you two want to take them up, you tell us.
Okay. First, we have on the agenda an agreement for setting forth procedures for joint city and county capital improvement sales tax projects. This is the one that we have discussed over the past couple weeks. This only deals with the project east of Highway 54 interchange at Stadium. What we're calling the Stadium, Christie, Monroe, and Madison Street projects supporting Capital Region Medical Center improvements. This is just a city-county agreement to expend the funds on this project to include, we've already done the traffic study but engineering services, right-of-way, and bidding, construction, and inspection. The estimated amount of this for budget purposes is $1.8 million. And I gave you a handout that kind of details project budgets to kind of finish out this current sales tax period that the city and the county have been working on. These are not final budgets, but this is just kind of where we're sitting for projects, and this is one of those projects, the $1.8 million. And we would recommend approval of this agreement to send to the city council for approval and move forward with the projects.
Jill, have you looked at this?
Yes.
Okay. You guys seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Have some extra copies if you.
We got,
You have six.
because we have to sign so many of them. We have lots. Have you seen it, Chris or Jeff?
The agreement or just, I mean, basically.
Here's the
it's this
agreement.
and-
This is one of those joint cooperative agreements
Yeah.
that we've done on prior projects, like
This just changes.
Lafayette, East
McCarty.
McCarty, Frog Hollow, and Dunklin. We do one on Dunklin?
Yes.
I think we did one on Dunklin.
So,
The same, we just put in different addresses.
is this agreement just for the engineering? Or is this for the final design, or
Everything.
for everything?
Would it also include the traffic study that's already been paid for, out of pocket by the city, upfront by the city?
But obviously, all that has to come back to us. I mean, each individual part has to come back before we have any funding obligation, right? I mean, it's, no offense to you guys, can't just move forward unilaterally. If we don't approve, we don't have to pay. That's my understanding.
Next item on the agenda today is approval or concurrence with the engineering contract for this project, but we wanted to get this on record as being approved first.
Multiple copies.
Mm-hmm. So what, I don't know. I don't like approving one thing and not knowing what the next thing's gonna be, so, just, I mean, if I got a plan, I wanna know what the whole plan is
Discuss
before
the
I.
next one, and then
That's fine,
you can
yeah.
move in order. Yeah.
So this one, let me make sure I understand this agreement. This agreement is just east of Christie. Does not include the Christie intersection.
It does include Christie.
Does or
Yes.
does not? It does include, so it's east of 54.
Correct.
It does not include the Jefferson Stadium roundabout discussion, right?
Correct.
And this is really kind of the Cap Region Medical Center expansion thing that we've talked about. And then we're also including in here a commitment on both sides that we're going to do a study to look at the rest of stadium.
Right, down to Lafayette, to the roundabout down
Yes.
Right, I think the way it's worded.
It's not a funding commitment. It's a
Right.
commitment in the next sales tax cycle. We are going to put that in the next sales tax cycle. Because I think we had the discussion,
Mm-hmm.
Chris, you and I, about how important it would be to address all those issues on stadium instead of just fixing the middle and leaving the problems still exist other places.
Right, and I don't know, I mean, the whole stadium fix is gonna be a challenge, but, anyway,
I mean, as far as this agreement goes, I don't have any, I think it's fine.
Chris
This
asked
agreement.
that we discuss the next item on the agenda
Okay.
before you approve this, and the
I'm
next
fine with
item
that.
is concurrence with the engineering services contract with the city. We'll contract with George Butler Associates for the design of the eastern portion of this project, east of Highway 54, to include all the improvements in this for this agreement that you're signing. The amount is $179,995, and I would ask you all to explain a little more in detail.
Right, and
Questions you
that,
have?
that dollar amount is actually, we're still working on a few of the last details in terms of what we want that design to be. And so that dollar amount is gonna, the last time I spoke with GBA last evening, that number is actually slightly lower than what was represented there, but there's a few details that we need to work out. But essentially, you know, what this entails is essentially all the work associated with the design. It's, you know, beginning with the beginning with the survey and the base mapping, property descriptions and all that is associated, stormwater, sanitary sewer. So basically creating that base map and then the design similar to what we've sketched as part of what was shown in the traffic study with the widening lanes on Christie, widening of Stadium, and then the improvements on Monroe and the inclusion of the signal. So essentially, in some ways, it's somewhat straightforward: preliminary design, right-of-way documents, and then finally a final design with the final plans and specifications for the project.
I guess my issue is, and I don't want to jump in front of you, Chris. Maybe
No.
I'll let you go, is
All right.
I don't have a high confidence level that we're doing this the right way.
Okay.
We had that joint meeting, we talked about it, and we kind of all agreed, let's move forward. We would defer to the experts. The experts were telling us that there's never any backup off of Christie into that intersection, and therefore you could keep the light. I think one of them said it never backed up past the used car lot. I have informally gone down there on a number of times. I have seen the traffic backed up well into the intersection at Jefferson Stadium. Again, 3 more times since you and I talked last week. 3 more times I've seen it backed up. And it's all backing up off that light at Christie. So I'm struggling here to see how, if we approve this agreement and go forward, and you tell me, and maybe I'm wrong on what we're approving, they're going to design that intersection the way they told us they were going to design the intersection on the basis that there's no backup into Jefferson. And I'm really struck. Do you guys ever go out there at all? I mean, it's always backed up from Christie into that intersection.
I would say that, they've done the traffic study and it's based on just a model. Now, they got to get it in reality, you're correct. But, they're looking at changing timings, doing various things. Now we get into design, we still have opportunities. It's not going to be exactly like was on, that it doesn't have to be or it could be. But, as we work through the design, CMPS is going to be probably the main designer of this project actually, locally here as a sub to GBA. But we had to keep some continuity with the federal money kind of mixed in on the other half, but the contractor, the engineering contract. But anyway, as we move through the design, there may be opportunities to look at how to modify that. Do we, there was some idea of even a right-in, right-out type situation. I mean, as we move through that design, we'd have to work through with the state too, because they really own that signal there. So it's not all
The Christie signal?
Yeah, they own that signal. So it's not all exactly set in stone yet. As we move through our meetings and go through our design process, we'll be meeting with those folks and they'll have comment on it too. So it's kind of like, we're trying to get everybody in one room and try to get this, keep it moving along so we can meet our commitment to Cap Region. But yeah, it's not, obviously the design, the purpose of the traffic study is to show that, things, they can modify signal timings, modify stacking distances, things like that to make this thing flow. Now it's got to get into reality of what's on the ground, how we can make this thing actually work with what's on the ground.
I guess what I'm struggling with, Matt, is I don't know. I don't have the confidence that their study is accurate because their study says it never backs up. And we go down there and it backs up. So if their study says it never backs up and therefore we don't have to do anything with the light,
What?
that's, I don't see anything. I guess I'm struggling with the fact that they say there's no problem with the light, and when I go down there's a problem with the light.
Well, I think what they're trying to say, Mark, is that they can change the timing and stuff on the lights to where it will work. Right now, the way it's set up, I can't disagree with you. Times I've been there, I've seen the same issues.
What's the linear distance from between the two lights?
It's just a shade over 500 feet, I believe.
And what's the average car length?
You can figure when they're stopped at a light, somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 28 feet.
25 feet. So you can put 20 cars between the two.
In multiple
Best
lanes.
case.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have multiple lanes, and this won't address multiple lanes because all the multiple lane stuff will be west of 54 because you have 4 lanes or you have 2 lanes going east under 54 because that's where they're created. It's right under 54. They have very small left turn or the left lane stacking.
Right, and ultimately with the roundabout design, there will be 2 full lanes from the roundabout at Jefferson to Christie, with a short little right-hand turn pocket onto Christie. So what is now the 2-way left turn lane on between Jefferson and Christie, that turn lane will become a through lane eastbound.
I mean, I'm okay with moving forward.
Now, the worst
I think
thing-
we need accurate. I think we need to send out whoever's out there watching this stuff to go out and actually see what traffic looks like. Somebody dropped the ball. I don't know how they dropped it, but they dropped the ball in saying that they never saw cars back up past the used car lot, because the used car lot's maybe 75 feet, maybe 100 feet from that light. That's 4 cars. Have you ever not seen at least 6 cars at that light?
No, I know the state calls us constantly and changing the clocks. We have clocks now in all these signals, and so they're not interconnected. So, that's another thing. They're going, these would be interconnected signals, so they work as basically one unit. But, you throw in the influence of that Jefferson Street thing, it gets a little nasty. But no, as we move through design, that's the point of the design, to try to keep flushing these out. George Butler's still there for us to do the traffic part of it. Like I said, CMPS is focused on really the geometric modifications and getting it to fit in real life. And then we can always go back with George Butler and work some of these things out as we move forward.
Just as I visualize some of that and how a person would drive that and turning left and turning right, and I know we got 2 lanes going, I guess that's eastbound on Stadium. Well, I mean, that's ideal until you get to Jackson, and then a lot of kids start wanting to turn left, and you have that merge and all that. And so, I mean, I'm just thinking, a constant flow of traffic that's not stoppable with the lights working or whatnot. I mean, I would think 1 lane would sustain that. 1 lane going all the way to Lafayette, and then a turn lane where people could get over in the turn lane, but just 1 lane just going straight, and then turn lanes at Monroe there. And so it just seems to me that if that traffic never stops and continue on its way all the way to a roundabout that doesn't technically stop or disperses traffic, that maybe that's a better look to get that traffic through that intersection at those times. And the only problem I got with traffic signals is that they don't always work, and I've been there, and if that timing gets messed up, I mean, it really compounds the whole problem. And so, I still really struggle with just even having a light at Christie at all. I know what the traffic study said, and I was at the meeting, and I believe that they got the right data, but at the same time, people are creatures of habit, and they always want to go the same direction. And if they're forced to go a different direction because it's a little bit of traffic in the morning, I think they'll find another route. And so, but I think the biggest thing is getting that eastbound traffic through Stadium at those peak times, and I don't see a whole lot of issues with the traffic coming west. I mean,
Right. The westbound traffic is actually split up into the kids leaving at 3 and then everyone else going home at 5.
Right.
And so the evening peak is lower than the morning because
Sure.
everyone's going
Right.
at the same time. Yeah.
But no, I hear what you're saying about the Christie, and like I said, we had originally contemplated just off the top of our heads. I think we were thinking kind of right in, right out anyway. Now, again, that could be flushed out and designed. We just have to have the proper backup from our engineer about can it be done that way,
Right.
and shown that it will work well. Like I said, the fallback plan is also a future project. Expensive to go ahead and extend Monroe over to the highway, as they shown on that map. ramp, so if this does break down or we can't get some of this going, then, there could be a project there.
Mhm.
But yeah, the worst thing, we don't want to do a project that when the day one it's over with and people aren't happy with it. So our goal is to always have, a good improvement. That's in the title, improvement, when we do these projects, so that, we're very sensitive to that.
So, I mean, I guess with Mark and my concerns, I'm just wondering, is GBA going to be willing to at least look at some of these things? And
Yeah,
I mean,
they've always been a good partner in the
Okay.
city and the county both. I think you guys had contracts, I guess, with them. I know we've had a lot in MoDOT too. And so, yeah, they're a good partner to move forward with. And then CMPS, our local contract.
Sure.
They're in tune with, like Mark said, every day, seeing what goes on. So I think they're a good partner in this, yeah.
I mean, I like the right in, right out idea on Christie. I think it solves a little bit of a problem of just eliminating that light, and then it gives you that length to get people off the highway. And I mean, I just hate to look at a project, and I know the roundabout will be coming at Jefferson Street, and I still got a little bit of concern there with the double roundabout and a bunch of kids. So, so the roundabout fails and everything's messed up. So, but overall, I think I'm ready to go forward with Monroe, or east of 54, and hopefully we can take some of these things up with GBA.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll be having public meetings as we go through this process and keep you guys informed. Of course, Larry and Eric will be in the meetings too as we move forward.
And I'd like somebody to get back out there and look at that traffic.
We can do that.
Not the numbers. The problem with counting the numbers is you just divide it out amongst the minutes and you can say, oh, hey, it's no problem. It's 10 cars. But, if you've got 100 cars there in 5 minutes, that's not 10 cars.
Right. Yeah, we can certainly do that.
Okay. Jeff?
I'm gonna defer more to the city. I mean, you all know how I feel about Christie and Jefferson. Closed both them ingress and egress off, but, I mean, this is your all's project. I may not agree with the traffic counts and stuff, or what they say to do, but, I mean, if it goes wrong, I'm gonna blame the city for it. So, I mean,
I'm probably
that
gonna do
all in
that,
good
but I'm
spirit.
gonna-
You want it to
I'm
go
gonna-
good.
I'm gonna try to come.
You
I've
know,
got a
hopefully,
football practice
however,
that
it
night,
We're
works
so
very
I'm
out.
not
sensitive to
coming
that.
afterwards.
Obviously, we want, like I said, we
Yeah.
want an improvement
Probably
when it's
not.
said and done. It's a lot of money. We understand that, and people expect an improvement when that's what we're calling it, so.
Yeah, I do appreciate y'all including us in the process, though, so we can inject some kind of, hopefully educated information, because I do drive through there a lot too, and it's backed up a lot, so.
Well, I mean, it's a joint project. It's not the city's project. They're taking the lead on it, but, this is one of the ones we put in the sales tax.
And if city councilman came up and said that we don't like the way y'all are doing this, we would take that into consideration, I'm sure, maybe.
So, Eric, what do you need?
Just approval of the agreement first.
I entertain a motion to approve the agreement setting forth procedures for joint city-county capital improvement sales tax project regarding the capital region expansion.
So,
Second.
Call roll.
Jeff?
yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes, by roll call vote, the joint agreement is approved. Now what do you need?
Just concurrence for the city to contract with GBA on the engineering services.
I entertain such motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Call roll.
Mark?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
By roll call vote, we give you our concurrence. Sorry it's painful.
That's all right. If you had any questions on the money part, just while we're here, we pass that sheet out, just kind of give everybody an update. We'll be giving the same thing to the council later this week. So.
Where are we at on that Old Town Streetscape project, by the way? Betty?
Yeah,
From the city's standpoint, just from a cash flow standpoint, we wouldn't have the money available until 2016 to actually cash flow that project.
That's the last year's cycle, right?
Correct.
Because we got to go to the ballot in 16, don't we?
Yeah. Yours ends in, I think that year, and ours ends halfway through 17.
Yeah, you're in April. You're April 1, and we're January 1.
Right.
So,
Runs out December 31, 2016.
okay.
But But there is contingency on this sheet, as you can see at the bottom, in case something were to come up. But this is kind of where we've modified, you know, the first columns of 2011 to where we are today. And you remember in 2011, there was contemplated Wildwood, so that's how we're adjusting. And a lot of these numbers are almost actual now. Frog Hollow, the Dunklin, Lafayette, things like that. So
We just
so
want to
we're
give
really
you,
honing in. We're trying to give you a little update here with it.
we just want to give you an update where we're at, what we spent, and so you have a balance to look at for the future. So,
Okay.
Where is the Jefferson intersection then? Is that, we don't
Right,
have
it's
it on
the- It
here?
would be the third line down,
Mhm.
Stadium and Jefferson intersection.
1.671.
Right, and that is, and then if you look at the bottom, we're also including
We didn't do
787,000 of STP funds in that, so for
Oh.
a total of 2.45.
Mhm. So the one, I guess I'm looking at proposed project funding of 1.6 million.
Correct.
For Jefferson.
Right, but
Okay.
then if you look, right, if you look at the bottom, then we're also have some STP funds,
Grant funds.
grant funds,
Oh,
totaling
okay.
700.
Okay.
be roughly 2.45
Yeah.
available for that project.
And then the one we just talked about is the 1/8 right below it, east of the highway.
I guess I'm just struggling with 2.45 and then we got 1.6 and 1.8. Is that the county share or, I just,
Right,
well,
that's,
that's 3.4.
Right, so,
It's half.
but this one is gonna be 0.
Okay.
And that's
So we
where the
got
extra
5
cash-
point,
yeah.
5.4.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we've been able to cover these other projects. They've
Okay.
gotten more expensive.
Because, do we think we're gonna get this done for this 1.8 and 1.6? Cause,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean-
that's what,
Okay.
that was kind of our planning at level deal, and then now we paired it out with CMPS and
Okay.
PPA. and then-
CMPS, first part of the audience discussion, Dunn owns the right of way buying the property and stuff, and they feel comfortable, at least.
There's estimates in there for them.
okay, yeah, I think I saw some of those, okay.
One more quick question. Do you guys know where we're at on the MSP money?
Yeah, it's the top column.
No, I know, but that was the commitment. The million you guys put in was the commitment to them. Have we ever gotten a final number on that?
I don't believe we have gotten the final mold on the mold part. Yeah, I don't know what the final number is yet, but I think it might, I hear it might be a little lower than that, so that number could go up.
I've heard it's been substantially lower.
Uh,
Less. It's one of the numbers I heard.
We weren't really involved in it
Okay.
directly, so our people were.
Could you guys inquire, because that makes a difference on how we plan out the rest of the projects in this cycle?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
So,
Appreciate it.
Jefferson, are you gonna try to do Jefferson next year then too, or?
We're gonna be back with that probably fairly shortly.
Okay.
But we want to separate this so we get cap region or obligation for getting that going to you and get it approved so we can start working on it. We'll be back shortly with Jefferson Street.
And-
because the Jefferson Street portion does have the state funding in it, and so there's more hoops to jump through, and so a longer time frame to actually make that happen, and so.
And commitments, and when you have to have the money spent.
And I assume once we go to construction, we'll wanna do that through the summer, or?
That would be the hope. Yes, to get the majority of it done. Now, I don't know whether or not we would be able to accomplish all of it in the summer, but certainly, I can't see a way of not having traffic running through that intersection.
Would the
when school's in
intent be
session.
to maybe have a short time frame on construction to try to get it done during off-peak
Right,
time?
penalties,
Yeah.
all of that comes into play,
Mhm.
through the design process. Just like this one, we're gonna have to have this going next summer after school lets out, basically. Or we'll probably let the contract earlier if we can, but, let the traffic flow till school is out, basically.
And-
Some of the work, utility work and stuff, we can do ahead of time.
Right.
That's why the contract may go earlier, but at the same time, the bulk of it we want to do after school.
I guess that's why I was wondering if we wouldn't get to Jefferson until maybe 2016 in that next.
Right.
Right, yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's the plan, really.
Okay, okay.
It's not gonna occur in 15, definitely.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Good enough.
Good?
Yep.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Matt.
it.
Thanks, David.
We
Uh,
also,
Let's get back on the agenda.
we have a city sanitary sewer.
You can stay while you're here.
Oh, okay.
We can do that before they leave.
Oh, they need to be here for that.
Well, we
They
just-
can be since they're here.
We weren't invited, but now that we're here.
On the agenda is county approval of a sanitary sewer easement on county park property conveyed to the city of Jefferson. Explanation, Kurt Fisher is doing a development on County Park Road. They are tying into the city sewer through a pressure line that will run it'll actually run on county park property below the dam, on that property, that triangle piece of property, and tie into an existing sewer main. The agreement that the Fisher development has with the city is that they will annex if the city limit ever becomes contiguous, and so therefore the city will take over maintenance of the sewer line that will be privately installed, and the city sewer department's working through approval of the line itself. We just need to grant the easement to them for that, so we recommend approval of that. And I do have, if you want to look at a drawing, I have a drawing if it helps you, but it's
I don't have any problem
straightforward.
with it. You guys?
What happens if we don't do it? What's
They-
he gotta do? I mean, where's,
They can't connect.
You can't build the subdivision.
Well, that's not
I mean,
entirely true.
They could
Yeah.
do, it'd be,
It cost him a lot more to put in a advanced septic system or whatever.
separate, completely
Thought I had
separate
that email
sewer
yet.
station.
I don't know. I guess the DNR might let them do that. If you're so close to a sewer, you're supposed to be hooking up. So state law.
I don't see any problem with
Not a
it.
problem.
It helps get more development and growth. I'm not hard to be against that.
I move we approve the sanitary sewer easement.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Jeff?
I was just trying to look at the map and see if we ever do anything else with that, what's it gonna affect?
It ain't gonna affect anything.
Here, he
It's
can show
below
you
that
the
dam.
map.
Okay, because I had it when you emailed it to us, I briefly looked at it, I forgot it was on there today.
It's in the right of way all along County Park Road, and then it just goes below the dam.
It does right along the dam.
It just,
B-
now the
below
dam's
the
way
dam.
over here. The dam's way over here, it basically just runs along the property line here.
Right along the property line in the back corner.
There's an existing city sewer easement to the county park property
I
already.
think that's what my question was, I didn't see where it was running through there, or if it went below the dam or what, so.
And it's the property below the dam, but it's not actually below the dam.
So that's not property we would ever be able to use?
I can't see any practical use.
I can't either. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Call roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, by roll call vote, the easement's approved. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Sign that one. All right, can we go back to the agenda now?
Yes.
Thanks, Larry. Thank you, guys. Bid award 2014-31 propane.
For whatever reason, we got one bid, contacted us 7 people.
Shocked.
Yeah, I don't know. But at the end of the day, the cost was $1.57 per gallon from Ferrogas. No penalty if we do not use the full 5,000. The recommendation is to award to Ferrogas for up to 5,000 gallons.
Do I need to sign anything, or, okay.
Not that.
I'm okay with it. Jeff?
Yeah.
I entertain a motion to award the bid to Feral Gas.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 2014-32 security guard services contract.
Yes, we got 3 bids for this. You guys should have the bid tabulation. The lowest was Securitas, and they are the current provider. I'm talking to Donnie. He's happy with them. They've had the same guys.
Yeah, it is.
I have a
You're
paper
not
copy.
in the
too,
right
Jeff.
place. My agenda has it. Your
Yeah,
agenda?
yeah.
You're in the wrong place, Jeff.
Jeff's on the wrong agenda.
Oh, he's not going through the server. He's trying to do the one that was attached to his email.
Oh.
Oh, is that where it came up at?
Yeah.
No, this is where I brought it up.
No, you didn't. 16.
I had a hand in this, so.
Oh, Debbie's fault.
See?
You changed it then, because that's exactly where I went to. Okay, there we go. That's exactly where I went, because I keep it simple. I'm technologically challenged here.
All right.
I move we award the bid to Securitas.
And approve the contract.
Yes, and approve the contract.
Jeff?
Where are we at on that?
They're at $14.75 hourly. Next low.
1485 is the next level.
Yeah, Guardsman was $14.85.
Okay, I'm good with it.
All right, entertain a motion. Oh, I think we had a motion. Did you
Oh,
second?
second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the bid to Securitas and award contract. Call the roll, please.
Chris?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Yes.
By roll call vote, bid's awarded and contract is approved. Here you go. No, thank you. Next item is discussion of county bid 2014-29. I don't even know what that is off the top of my head.
What happened to Language Link?
Oh, oops. I skipped you. Sorry. See, hide behind the pillar. You have to stay the entire time. Sorry. Approval and signing a contract with Language Link.
Interpreter services, if someone comes in for like their immigration immunizations and they do not speak English, we call them and they help translate for us. It is 82 cents a minute. We only pay when we use it, and it's usually about once a month, if that.
Okay. I entertain a motion to approve
So
contract.
moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, by roll call vote, contract's approved. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, go ahead. 2014-29.
Okay, this is
Thanks for
background
catching up.
testing and drug testing. I had asked Jennifer to look into this and actually bid it out. But since we bid it out, there's been discussion of background testing, and each department kind of does their own. And since learning that we could just send these people to the highway patrol, they could run that test and at their cost, not our cost. So I kind of really don't want to go there with the background testing anymore. This is for new employees, for potential new employees. And the other part of it was drug screening. We currently don't even go over the bid amount now, to where we would have to bid this. And we've also found there is a state contract out there that we could piggyback on. So I would just like to reject all these bids and move forward.
Sounds good to me.
And so these people actually go to the highway patrol and they have to do that there?
They do it themselves.
Okay.
You do a name check or a fingerprint check and have the results.
And so do we pay for it then, or?
Each department can do their own. They could pay for it out of their budget, or I think the sheriff's department actually makes the employees pay for it that are wanting the job.
Okay. Good
So
enough.
that's where I'll direct all the departments to do if they want to do that.
Good by me.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay. I entertain a motion to reject bids on 2014-29.
So moved.
Second.
All those fair say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Bids are rejected. Accounts payable review.
Entertain a motion or I move to approve accounts payable.
Second.
A motion second to approve accounts payable, and didn't have anything in there for any of us, did you?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Eugene Water. And Larry left.
Yeah, they don't my desk.
Huh?
No, no.
Oh, he's still
hiding.
here. I thought you got up when Eric did. I had my head down.
No, I didn't put that up on the agenda.
I saw animal control to public works in here. I figured that's why you stayed around. Now we see how long it takes the sheriff to text me after saying that. All right, go ahead, guys.
Well, Chris had asked, when we were bringing up the budget, to have this put on just for discussion purposes.
I don't ever see Eugene Water breaking even, and I see it as a huge liability for us to continue. And so I would like to see what measures we can do to get out of the water business. So whether that be to form a public water district for the citizens there to take over or whatever, but I just think we need to cut our losses and quit dealing with this. So
No disagreement on our part.
So what do we do?
I mean,
At one time, I think when Al was still here, we had worked with the residents down there to get set up, not necessarily a public water district, but at least an association. I know DNR doesn't favor those, but I think that's probably the only way we're gonna be able to diverse or get rid of it, is do something like that. The stumbling block that we had at that time was assisting them to be able to help an attorney draw up their agreement that everybody, they can sign. And I think that's where it came last time. We have not talked to the people involved last time. We had 5 people willing to sign to get it going. we can revisit that issue, and see if they're still interested in it.
I think if they realize that if they don't do this, I think our water rates are going to be so exorbitant that they're not going to be able to afford it. And then what do we do?
What are our rates now?
Right now, it's
26 are base rate.
base rate.
It's $2 per.
$6, I think it's 6, isn't it, for every 1,000 after that minimum, which is 2, I believe.
And we talked
So,
to
so what are the bills going out? How much are
Their
the bills?
average right now is probably anywhere, I'd say average bill is probably $40.
Okay, how many
$45
people
a month.
are delinquent?
Right now, none.
Okay.
I mean,
we've not been making friends with some of them down there.
I don't care about friends.
But
But
it's
right now,
been
we've got them paid up. I mean,
Good.
if we don't, we go down, we turn them off, and we purchase locks that work.
How many people we have on?
There's about 70 on it.
70 at $40 a month.
What
Is
do
that
we?
not enough to run the system?
Well, what we proposed and talked to Debbie, we were actually gonna come back to you around June or July of this next year. We started charging with the meters about that time last year or this year, so we have a good feel, where our expenses are, what we're doing. We've got all the meters, I think, except one.
We got one yet, we have to get it.
And it's gonna be a deep excavation to get to, but we've got everything else up and running.
What's the 1 meter? Is it an apartment complex?
No.
No?
It's actually next to.
It's in a
It's just-
building and it's right up against it.
Yeah, it's deep. We're gonna
That's
have
all.
to take out concrete and everything else to get
The
down to.
system needs a lot more work done on it yet. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be straightened up, like we can't find but very few of the actual valves and stuff that need to be.
That was
need to find
what
them
we
and-
included in our
and do
budget
that.
for next year is
I don't-
either finding the valves or installing new valves. Right now, if we have a water break on one of the main lines, that we pretty well have to shut the whole system down, which means a boil water for everybody. We'd like to be able to get that in segments where we can do loops, where we can get that, but, we want to go the route of trying to see if they want to set up an association, we'll go that route too. But I know the question will come up as far as being able to get an attorney to help draw up the agreement to set them up.
I don't know if that was the biggest problem as much as it was dealing with DNR and fixing stuff.
I think now you're gonna have to probably go back to DNR first, because I'm not sure with county having it now that they're gonna let you do that anymore.
When Aqua Source or Aqua Missouri or Aqua whoever looked at it and did a pro forma or whatever.
Couldn't make it work.
They said basically have them go back and try to do is there a difference between an association district and a nonprofit water company? Is that 3 different things or is the
Yes,
nonprofit?
3 different things.
Okay.
Although a nonprofit water company could be an association.
Okay. So either association or district per se. But either one of them's gonna.
I mean, we can wait till June or July, but I think the longer we wait, the more we're just sinking money into it. And I don't ever see it. I mean, at $33,600 a year, there ain't no way that's covering our costs. I mean,
It's,
And we can take the steps to see if we can even, go about getting it.
and you may actually get, since we've actually got it, I wouldn't say if you would say that it's profitable, but it's actually where we have 70 customers and they're all actually paying their bills.
And we got nice
Before we
meters
had
now and-
70 customers and 30 of them paid a bill, that they might actually get to where maybe like American Water, because I know they did take over Redfield Water up there, which is right close to there too, so.
Yeah, if they weren't able to connect is the problem.
No.
They saw the savings if they could hook them up to each other.
But they're, I know the Coal R4. 5. They would actually like.
They would love to get on that system, yes.
Yeah,
On our system?
Well, not
On Redfield
our
system.
A system with all of them.
Yes.
With Redfield, them, and Eugene.
But that highway, going under that highway is good.
You just have to bore under
We
it.
just have for it, that'd be the main thing, but it'd be expensive.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But, I tend to agree with.
it's expensive right now. So I mean, I'd look at any option to get rid of it. I mean, if Coal R5 wanted to do it and get Redfield and some of those businesses over
What should
there.
it cost to bore under, do you think?
I don't know. I have no idea. We've not done any major boring like it. It's not cheap. Because I know when we were working with the city down there at Militia at one time about a business possibly going in, you know, we looked at that time. But that's been probably 10 years ago when we did paving. So.
I don't know. What do you think? 20 grand? Get it? Maybe.
I was thinking an extra zero.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's the
We'd have to-
on-ramps too, on both sides.
We might, yeah, we'd probably have to get with one of the consultants, Bartlett and West does a lot of water district work. We'd probably talk to them and see what.
I'd say you'd be close.
Yeah,
He'd be close or I'd be close.
Chris would be close.
I mean, for 20 grand, it'd be worth looking at doing it to get, if we could offload it.
I mean, they could set up and bore the whole distance, couldn't they? Set up in one of them valleys and bore all the way under the ramps and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that, yeah, they could bore completely under 54 and pull a line through it.
I mean, what do you think, Cliff? I mean, I think 50?
Oh, it'd be more than that. No, yeah, it'd be.
I know DNR, if we.
Let's look at it.
They're gonna say, no, you can't do it, but I would rather.
Can't do what?
Set up an association where they can take it over themselves.
I'd like to know what it costs to bore and connect the systems. Because if we could get a rough estimate, it's the kind of thing we could go to Missouri American Water and say, if you put in a third, and we go to R5, and say, you put in a third, and if we put in a third, we connect the whole system, and in agreement, Missouri America could take the whole system over. I mean, that's the kind of thing that.
I don't really care how we do it, but just as long as we get out of it.
Like I said, you're not gonna hear.
I don't know. I heard resistance from Cliff over there.
I think Cliff likes going down there and talking to those people.
It's a monthly, it's a monthly.
Could we just set up a little Cliff office down there?
We've got one set up.
We need to go there.
We do need a leash law down there.
Yeah. I have a leash law, but.
That's after hours.
Can you guys look into that?
Yes.
And come back to us, and then we can talk about it.
Thank
Very
you.
quickly?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Is Eugene still on their own water system? They're a district themselves, and at one point, they had indicated they wanted to get out of the water business too, so are they interested?
You mean
in looking into-
Redfield?
Nope.
School.
The high school.
Oh, the school,
The
yeah.
school, yes, the school wants that. They would like to get off of their well and
So
actually be
that would
on.
help if you actually
Yeah,
had them on
Bartlett
there.
and
That's what I was
West
saying, we
actually
could all
talked
go
to
in
them
on
at
it.
one time.
Which would actually make the system, the amount of water that they would use would actually make it probably get into the point where it would be profitable for someone
Yep.
to tie into it. Because I know there's soccer fields that they have down there now. At one time, they had talked about having a big commercial well put in for that, and it was ungodly expensive for them to get that done. So they would like to, I know that, I've heard several of them say that they would like to get off their system that they have now if they could get water down there.
Because I think they've got 2 or 3 wells there now just support the school, so.
When's the last time we looked at rates to see if it's,
We haven't, but we've met with Rural Water when we set it up, and that's why we're
so
gonna.
when we set it up was the last time?
Right.
So
and
we need to look at it again because they have nothing to lose by staying on it.
Right. And
At
that's
this
what we're
point,
looking-
that's what we need to say. If you're gonna complain about the rates, then take it over yourself
what
because
we're-
it's not our expertise and we don't wanna be in the water
Yeah,
business.
we're gonna bring it back to you unless you tell us different in June or July to look at possibly
Sooner.
adjusting the rates up or down.
No, we're not waiting to June or July.
I'd say soon, deer season's over. No, I agree with Chris. Let's look at it and
I mean, at $44, I think that's a bargain. I mean, I think it probably ought to be 80 or 100 in order to make it profitable, and those people can't afford that. So, but anyway, let's look at some alternatives.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, I got a couple other items. That's the end of the agenda. A couple other items. We had a property tax appeal to us. I think. Did you guys get copies of that?
Mm-hmm.
We need to set that on the agenda.
Okay.
So, and I will send her notice. So tell me what day you want to put that on the agenda.
We got one set for next week.
Whenever there's one open.
The 24th is your next one. But, yes,
We got one Thursday, but that's a,
it's closed.
yeah.
yes.
So
It's whichever next available works.
24th works for me.
All right, I will tell her we'll do this the 24th at 9 o'clock.
We just have one meeting next week then, okay.
We also got, as we're trying to get board and commission members, I don't know if you saw, we got an email from person who's interested. Does she live in the city or the county?
City.
Can't do it then on the library board. Because it's a joint city-county library district, and our agreement is we appoint from outside the city, and the city appoints from inside the city.
I need all those rules in here.
There's a lot of rules.
Well,
Does the city have any openings that she might be able to serve?
I don't know that. They
Maybe
do a
we-
much better job of getting volunteers than we do.
Maybe we could forward that to them or something.
so we got 3 of them that ended March 31st. I know a lot of these, but the only one I know. Randy sounds familiar. You know him?
Yes, he's from Wardsville.
Okay, that's why it sounds familiar.
He was on the school board for a period of time out there.
And Vicky Ford?
And I don't know Vicky very well. I thought you got her. Or did Pee Wee get her?
Shoot, I don't know. I think it was me. You look one of these old ones, I've had to go back and see. Some people.
I'll call Claudia Schoonover and talk to her about it.
Yeah, does the library have anybody?
She's the executive director, and she may have ideas.
Then we got one for planning commission, and actually that Carolyn's had expired, but we usually just reappoint a lot of those unless they.
Assuming they
out.
want to serve, yeah.
We had somebody express their interest, and I'm in contact with him, make sure that he's still interested, because I talked to Carolyn, she says, well, now might be a good time to get out if you got somebody interested, so as soon as we get that one, I'll get it on the agenda. That's all we gotta do is to get them officially appointed. Somewhere on there it said, state statute by vote of people. What the heck? That part of it.
When we approved planning, we did it by vote.
Okay, so that's why when we
Yeah.
approved the planning, that meant that we
Yes.
appointed them.
Yep.
All right.
Anything else?
I want new business.
You got to put it on the agenda, Marvin.
You ain't gonna like what I got to say.
Then you really have to put it on the agenda. Take a microphone.
He talks loud enough.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, you did.
All right, Marvin, what's up?
Oh, well, I was gonna wait until October to come and see you and ask for money for the election, which is what I'm gonna have to have. But as of 4 o'clock last night, we found out that there was a lawsuit that was filed that no one knew about until 4 o'clock last night. And the appeals court in Kansas City says that we have to add a sentence to one of the amendments. Well, the problem is that all our ballots are printed.
You jumped the gun.
No, that's when we get into it. And our ballots are printed, and it looks like we're going to have to pay for them. So I just want to let you know there's going to be most probably somewhere around another $40,000 for printing new ballots. Yeah, and I was going to need money anyway, but just to let you all know that we're going to have ballots. I'm going to have my ballots reprinted because they were supposed to be here today or this week because
Absentee voting
Friday we were supposed to mail our military ballots out, and absentee starts next week. So it's just to let you know that I'll be needing some money for the November election.
So what happens if we don't do it?
You don't have a choice.
Well, I think we always have a choice.
No, you don't. Not on elections, Chris. You get to pay for them no matter what.
Well, I realize that, but I mean, we have a choice to print new ballots or not.
Well, you either got to print new ballots or we don't use them. because the court says that we will print our new ballots and we will put that in there.
August and November election.
We have no choice.
We don't even get the Hancock Amendment claims under those.
We have to pay it, and we are working right now. That we haven't gave up yet. We've tried to get an exception, but they've already turned down one of our exceptions. We were asking if we couldn't put up a poster or something in the ballots boxes and in the privacy panels, and they turned that down already and says
All I
it
can
has
think is print off 40,000 labels and stick labels on it.
something. I don't know. We're working on it.
So what amendment was it that?
Early voting.
Early voting.
So whose amendment is that?
Legislatures.
It's states.
So they need to pay for it.
I agree. I agree with you.
I wish. I agree.
Hey,
I
they
agree
gave us
with
the
you that
language,
they need
right?
to pay for it. They paid it. They had to pay we got $17,000 from them on the August election for the screw up that they made. So, but I don't think you're going to get it this time. So this is the second time in the two elections that we've
What happened
had.
in August?
For some reason, they held everything up, and the state had to pay for the holdup. I can't remember exactly. It was on one of the amendments too that they held up things, and since they held it up, they had to pay for the cost of our printers and stuff. So we got $17,000 back from the state for our November election or August election.
Classic unfunded mandate.
How many ballots we got?
How many ballots do am I ordering? 60%.
Which is
what?
how many? Which is how many? 60% of 75,000.
Figure 60% of 49,000 something.
They're less than 30,000.
Less than 30,000. So
it's $1 a ballot.
Most probably something like that. And it's two-sided ballot, so it could be even more.
So another option. I mean, is it possible to put a sticker on there or
No.
no?
No. We have to do what the court order says, and that's to add the sentence.
Possible to have somebody handwrite it?
No, it's going to have to be printed and look.
Well, all machine's picking up is whether you vote yes or no. Right?
That's right. But what the thing of it is, the sentence that was missing is that the state or the legislature will approve that they will pay for early voting, and that was left off of the proposal, and the court said it has to be on there. So I'm just letting you guys know up front what's going to happen, and the clerks are working on trying to get something worked out. But right now, everything that we've said has been turned down.
I'd say don't do it. I'd say throw me in jail. That's a waste. What's a waste? Waste. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars. That's ludicrous.
That's what the courts say. We're kind of stuck with it.
Well, it would have been nice if the SOS had told the clerks and everybody that we had a suit out there. So we could have most probably said, yeah, we maybe need to hold our ballots, but we were never told that we had a suit going.
There's still another one out there too.
There's still another one out
On
there.
Amendment
See, they
3.
haven't told us about that one either. What's that one?
On Amendment 3.
On Amendment 3?
That's Wednesday.
See, that hasn't even been told to us.
I think you need to talk to the Secretary of State.
We tried. We haven't tried. We won't go into that.
We
But
file suit against them.
I don't know if you can or not, but we have talked to the Secretary of State, and like I said, we had to make an amendment to get an exception in August that we all got and taken care of. So
You could just ask me. I could have told you. I know about all these lawsuits. I'm flabbergasted that they don't tell you.
You know, we are too. I mean, the SOS is very uncooperative with the clerks. I mean, we don't learn a lot of things, and like I said, we just learned of this at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
So
And
does
now
that,
you
does
tell
that
me-
affect
and now
every?
you tell me there's another one out there?
Potentially, yep.
Does that affect every county in the state?
Yes.
So you're talking about millions of dollars.
You're talking about, there are very few counties that don't have their ballots printed.
Does anybody do electronic voting? Does anybody do totally electronic voting?
Everybody's electronic.
No, you guys are optical scan. Does
We're
anybody-
optical
does anybody
scan.
do
Some are, like the city of St. Louis is touch screens in
So
in
they-
Kansas City.
They don't have to reprint.
They won't have to reprint, but everybody that's got optical scans or electronics has to reprint. That uses a paper ballot.
And that's the majority.
Mm-hmm.
Because the electronic versions are very expensive to buy. Is what is.
I just thought you guys ought to know.
You're full of good news.
Hey, you know what? I know I'm trying to get out of here, but
Hey.
my last 2 elections are going to be fantastic. I'm not going to forget them.
Hey Marvin, send them the bill because I won't approve it.
If there's anything that's gonna happen, it's gonna happen this year and it's really last year. So far, I've been right.
It always works that way.
Yeah.
You should know that.
You're just sliding though.
I'm not sliding.
Thanks for good
I
news,
wish I was
Marvin.
sliding.
You're welcome. Hey, I loved it too when I got the news yesterday.
The way I look at it is that your successor should count themselves lucky because you're dealing with all the problems. They're going to get a little bit easier ride.
I would hope so, but it's
Yeah,
no fun.
Because elections are gonna get much cleaner. Where's your clerks association at on this? How come they're not keeping an eye on this stuff for y'all?
Well, we are. I mean, the clerks.
I mean, wouldn't somebody be out there watching to see if there's a lawsuit for y'all supposed to print these things, or? I
Well,
don't know. I'm
the
frustrated.
Secretary of State should be the one to tell us what's going on because they're the ones that knows about
but
the
Mac should be
lawsuits
watching.
before.
Mac
we
should
do.
be telling you.
MAC, or the Clerks Association, they ought to all be raising some hell over this, and I mean, just like Chris said, they ought to be saying, send a bill to Secretary of State. Here you go.
We're not done yet.
I'm
we
not
may,
picking
we
on
may
you
try to
on
get
this
that
one.
done yet. So,
I'm just saying it's.
but
Tell the Secretary of State you're not going to report results electronically to them.
They got to pay for them.
Yeah. Tell them if they want it electronically, they have to make a sunshine law request. It takes 3 days, and we'll see if it works. Otherwise, we'll hand deliver the results to them one ballot at a time.
there you go. And we could do that.
I know.
All right.
Anything else coming before the commission? Entertain a motion to stand in recess.
So moved.
Second.
All those fair say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Motion carries.
We gone.
Recess.
You need that? Yeah. Yeah. What else do you need?
See a little sun there? One side of your face. Tiger King. And me
With that.
too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't stay as red as you as long as. I wasn't in the sun for the first half. I had shade.
It got actually pretty warm on